In the spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples today. Welcome to Totally Lit, the podcast celebrating reading, writing and creating literature. I'm your host, Ky Garvey. Thank you for listening.
Samantha Ross, welcome to Totally Lit.
Thank you, Ky. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to chat to you because I think that we're going to have some really interesting conversations this evening. Impossible Springs is your latest release. Tell me about the experience of being published by Penguin. Like, that's the dream debut, isn't it?
It's the dream debut. Yeah. What do you say? That's like if you're a writer, that's winning the author lottery. I've always wanted to be published by Penguin. I've been striving for it for about 20 years. But even as a little girl, around 8 to 10 years old, and I was reading Anne Rice, and then later on, I became friends with the author. About 15 years ago, I became friends with the author of the Dexter series, Jeff Lindsay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's a really good buddy, and he became sort of a bit of a mentor and essentially taught me how to really write. And, Anne Rice was with Penguin and Jeff Lindsay's with Penguin, and I just dreamed about it. And
You manifested it, though.
I did, but that was only in the last year. So I've always known how to manifest, and I know that at the moment toxic positivity is a big thing, but I always stay positive about my writing career, even when I am kicked in the teeth over and over and over, because I think when it comes to positivity, even if people think it's toxic, what's the alternative? A healthy negativity? I would rather stay positive.
I'm the strange cynic. Like, I'm a cynic, if that's honest.
Mhm.
But I want manifesting to be true. I believe in God as well. And I'm like, I want these things to be true, but I also want magic to be true. And I want ghosts to be real. So it's interesting that I'm like, I don't actually think
that they are. I can tell you that
yeah.
all of those things are real. My grandmother saw the dead, and my mother and myself and my grandmother, when she was living, we live our lives by, I guess it's in a sense, magical realism.
Mhm.
So it's not all woo woo, and it's not like hippie airy fairy stuff. We actually combine a lot of physics. I mean, even Einstein said it: match the frequency to the reality you want, and that's the reality you will get. It is not philosophy, it's physics. Basically, because things that the energy you give out likens things that are similar to it towards you. So I know a lot of people say, things like The Secret and the law of attraction don't work because they put things out there and it doesn't work. But it's really not like that. The only trick is you have to live your life as though it's already happened. And you can't on that one. You can't be like, oh God, it'll never happen to me. Things don't work out for me. Things like that don't happen for people like us. You just can't do that. You have to walk around going, yep, it's happening, and feel it 100% as though it's already happened.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I do listen to some music that's tuned to a certain frequency for positivity, which my sons make fun of me for that. And I'm like, oh, but even if it doesn't work, it makes you feel good. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I have felt anytime I've read The Secret or I've watched the documentary of The Secret, I haven't received $1 million, but I have somebody has handed me a free coffee, and I'm like, okay, that's something, but I need to be working higher. I need to be, manifesting bigger things for myself.
Well, I think that's the trick, isn't it? Because, I haven't been able to manifest $1 million either. And that's because deep down, I don't believe I can. So I can manifest a car park just like that outside wherever I need to go. and I can manifest. Oh, so a little while ago, I manifested a white coffee machine.
Oh, okay.
Just like that. I really wanted a coffee machine, but I didn't want to get onto Dick Smith and buy one because I wasn't sure if I'd like a, a coffee machine coffee every day.
Right.
And I thought, before I spend the money, I really want to try one. So I'm just going to put it out to the universe and believe wholeheartedly that someone is going to drop a white to go with my kitchen, a white coffee machine on my doorstep. Sure enough, 3 days later, in our girls group thread, all the girls that live in Port Douglas that I'm friends with, one of them said, "Hey, I wound up with 2 white coffee machines as a wedding present. Does anyone want one?" She was just married in August,
Holy
and
cow.
I
Nice
know, and I
work.
was like, "Yes." I happened to be on the group thread at the time, and I was like, "Yes." I was the first one to put my hand up, and I got it. So it only took
Meant
3
to
days to
be.
manifest that, but it took me about 6 months to manifest Penguin, and as I said before when we were chatting, Penguin is like, if you're an author, Penguin, well, I don't know, a great majority of authors, Penguin is like winning the author lottery.
Mm.
Penguin
And
Random House.
I
Sorry.
will say to the listeners, Samantha and I were having a pre-chat before we jumped on, and I was saying, I just pinch myself that Penguin reaching out to me to interview authors. Like, for me, I'm like, that's a big thing. They're an
Well, Penguin
amazing
love you.
publisher. So I
No,
love
Penguin
Penguin
love
as
you.
well. So,
Penguin love your style. But yeah, to be published with Penguin is a dream come true. But and it took me 20 years because I could not believe that was the holy grail. To reach Penguin was the holy grail. I just couldn't make myself believe it. And then when I wrote Possible Springs, my agent was shopping it around, and I just listened to this amazing motivational motivational leader called Joe Dispenza, but he's actually a doctor. So, he doesn't just go with the whole energy flow. He studies the heart and brain. And he said this interesting thing in a podcast where a lot of people shoot themselves in the foot because when they're trying to manifest, because they don't realize every time you think to yourself, no, that would never happen to me, you actually flood your body with
mm,
chemicals, and your body gets used to things like adrenaline and cortisol with anxiety and worry. And so when you tell yourself, no, my dream is never gonna work out, you do get that anxiety, and your body is getting its fix of drugs. So you're like your own walking chemist, sabotaging yourself over and over.
yes.
And that's why I couldn't manifest Penguin. And then last year, once I heard that, oh my God, the sky was the limit. I just sat there every morning at 6 a.m. thinking about Penguin reading my book. I even pictured my publisher before I'd ever seen her. By the time I'd met Beverly, that's exactly what she looked like, a blonde with shoulder length.
Oh, even it was that specific
It
in
was
that.
that specific.
Wow.
I never did was say to myself, "Yep, I've got it in the bag. I've got Penguin, no worries." I went sort of in a roundabout way. So I was like, "Oh, I am so happy that Penguin are reading my book, and I'm so happy that this publisher from Penguin is loving my book." So rather than just fixate on, "I'm gonna get a contract from Penguin," I saw the sort of components that went with being signed with Penguin. And it literally, and of course, reminding myself, "Oh, if I be negative about this, it's because I'm feeding my drug addiction to my own negative." So even though I do believe in magical realism, I do believe in manifesting, but I am also a grounded realist, and I try and bring science into it
Mm.
because energy is everything.
Well, also, like, I could not manifest a contract with Penguin at the moment because I don't have a manuscript. Like, there there are actions you need to take for you to achieve that manifestation. So you
Yeah,
had to write your manuscript, you
yeah,
had an agent, and then that work around, okay, I've done the non-magical work. I guess, the
Yeah,
work
yeah,
of
yeah. I mean, you've
writing
got
and
to.
of the achieving, and then there's that next step of, okay, I have a product. What do I want to happen with this?
Yeah, you've got to
Um,
put the grounded work in, you've got
yeah,
the you've got to put the daily grind in as well. It's not the law of attraction doesn't work like, "Oh, I'm gonna believe that I'm gonna win the lottery tomorrow and it's gonna happen." It doesn't, it
if you
just
didn't buy a ticket, you can't win as well.
if you didn't buy a ticket and if you also didn't sit there for years and years and years practicing how to make your subconscious believe that it is happening, and hopefully one day I'll get there. Hopefully one day I'll make my subconscious believe that I'm going to win the lottery, and then I'll do it weekly.
So, for an author that's sitting out there at the moment, they've got their work ready to be submitted somewhere,
Mhm.
what steps would they take to manifest, like to make it happen, and without bringing in that, I guess, that negative energy of cancelling out the manifestation? What would you recommend?
I feel like a writer will have to go through a negative period because there's no ifs and buts. Every writer is going to get rejected.
Yes.
So that's going to happen over and over and over. And I think Australia is probably one of the hardest places to get an agent and be published. There's compared to other countries, there are so few agents. I think there's probably about 15 agents. And then the handful at I think is it maybe Cameron's? It's so hard to get an agent, which, stops you getting your foot in the door at a lot
Mm,
of publishing houses. But I feel like it's okay to be kicked down because every author needs to. And all of the years that I was being kicked down, it's very hard to stay positive, but you've got to find a way. And so what I did every time I was rejected, which was hundreds of times with, other books before Possible Springs, in between writing new books, I just kept perfecting my writing.
mhm.
So I took that opportunity to put the positivity into my writing. Like, okay, it's not a personal rejection. I can see where I could have done better in this book.
Yeah.
So I'm going to re edit the entire thing and do better and better and better until I think I've got something that, is 100% better than the last manuscript I tried to hand in. So I would say that to writers. It's okay to go through a negative period.
Mm.
It's okay to feel down. It's okay to cry. I've done it a million times with
Right.
all the rejections because, the rejections is all of the rejection is going to make you feel eventually you'll become more resilient, you'll become stronger, and you can only ever put the law of attraction or, manifesting, you can only ever put that in place from a strong standpoint. It can never be done when you're feeling weakened because your subconscious will be telling you it's not going to work out. Things
Yeah.
don't work out for me. I keep getting knocked back. I keep getting rejected. Just things don't work out for me. So allow yourself to be rejected. Feel your feels. Allow yourself to grow a shell. And yeah, then, as you get stronger, your manifesting skills will get better when it comes to, having the confidence to start sending out your manuscript to agents and publishers.
So you were manifesting every morning for your Penguin contract.
Um, I manifested every day, but when it came to Penguin, that's when I heard that being unable to manifest things, when I learned that there was a scientific element to that with the whole, the cortisol and adrenaline flooding your system with anxiety, once I realized I was feeding my negativity with my own personal body drugstore. Once I realized I was doing that, I taught myself how to stop doing that. Like, stop, stop. You don't have to be negative and anxious.
Mm.
That's your body craving its drugs. So once you understand that there is, a more scientific element to it, that's when I really was able to ramp up that manifesting penguin. So I sat there every day going, how amazing is it that they're reading my manuscript? How amazing is it that they love my manuscript? And every time that horrible little shithead voice, sorry for swearing, but every time that horrible voice said to me, Penguin will never happen for you, I was like, see, that's not even you. That's your body wanting more cortisol.
Ah,
I
okay.
could
So
go, ignore
saying to
that thought.
yourself,
Yeah, that's not
shut
even a
up.
real thought. That's your body's, little inbuilt drug addict wanting its fix of negativity. And that made it 1,000 times easier. Once I realized I wasn't just sending it out there and trusting in universal energies, that there was a scientific standpoint in play that, that I had to get rid of, that made it really easy. And also, going in the back door. So when people want things, it's really difficult for them to go, I want $1,000,000.
Mm.
I'm going to manifest it because once again, the subconscious is going, yeah, whatever. That's never going to happen to you. And so, you go around the sideway, you look for the back door and you say, oh my God, it's so amazing that I'm going to buy my dream house with that $1,000,000. Oh my God, it's so amazing
Okay.
that I'm going to go on a European holiday with that $1,000,000. So when you sort of go around the back way. And that's what I did with Penguin. Instead of just thinking to myself, I'm getting Penguin no matter what. I was like, how amazing is it that they're going to offer me a contract? Or how amazing is it that I'm going to be working with publishers and editors and publicists? And, so I sort of thought about the stuff that would happen in the
Yeah.
future rather than just waiting for Penguin to go, yes.
Now that magical realism is in the book as well. So you've used all of that in your storyline. Did you want to tell me a bit about how you've used that?
It's a little bit different. So I think when I say magical realism, I think really what that encompasses is anything paranormal in a more grounded way, trying to marry it to scientific elements. So I don't really have the law of attraction in my book at all. I have a very special type of clairvoyance. So my main character, Jimny, she can see inside people's minds, but only if something is activated. And I don't want to give it away.
Okay, no spoilers.
I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to spoil it for readers because and that was one of the reasons that Penguin signed me as well. They had never, nobody had ever written telepathy activated or triggered by this certain element. So I wanted to keep that bit
That,
a bit of a surprise for readers.
that's so intriguing.
Yeah. So the magical realism is sort of, more centered around a paranormal trait of telepathy.
Fantastic. And that has also been inspired by your experience with your grandmother who is a medium or was a medium.
Yeah. She never called herself a medium. She never used words like medium, clairvoyant. She just was born being able to see the dead. She didn't make a big song and dance about it. She never practiced. She never wore a gypsy scarf or had a crystal ball. She just somehow attracted people that had passed on. And so she helped people during the I guess the 40s and the 50s that had presences in their house. I don't know, is that a word? That had a presence in their home or sometimes in factories around Melbourne, in pubs, and she knew how to remove that presence. And her and I were really, really, really close. And so I think maybe by the time I was 12, I saw something and so I didn't inherit her ability. I don't see the dead. I don't hear the dead. I'm not any kind of medium or clairvoyant, but I did see something in her house when
Oh,
when she was babysitting me one night, and I was like, "Oh my God!" There's like a short man standing in the back room.
oh no.
Yeah, I
God,
saw
sorry
it.
about that.
Yeah,
I'm highly suggestible
I was terrified.
and I desperately would like to have something supernatural happen to me, but I've never had anything supernatural happen.
Oh, it was
I kind of think
awful.
that I blocked from that kind of stuff.
Well, you
Um,
probably are. I think
yeah,
most people are, aren't they? I think most people are.
I desperately want to see a ghost, but I think I would be absolutely terrified. So I don't want to really tempt fate and bring it
No, you don't.
on.
No, you do not. No, you do not want to see a ghost. You really don't. And that terrified me. And I said to my grandmother, there's a short man in the back room.
Oh,
And she was like, "No, it's okay. It's all right." I'm like, "It's not okay. Call the police. There's someone in your house." And she was like, "Okay, no, he's not a living man. He's just very lost." And then she went on to just explain to me that, yeah, she sees people that have passed on, and occasionally she helps them pass on to further where they need to go. And, yeah, it was it was terrifying, but I got used to it over
mm.
time, and thank God I didn't inherit any of that skill, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's probably something that's better not to have in life.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty
Life
happy.
is difficult enough without having extra scary stuff
Yeah,
added
it
to
really
it.
is. Well, it's funny you say that because when I was freaking out the night that she told me, she actually did say to me, that, "Look, the dead can't hurt you.
Mm,
And the thing that you should be 1,000 times more scared of is humans.
yeah,
So, the dead are not half as terrifying as anything a human is capable of." Yeah, and,
yeah.
I mean, look, every now and then there'd be like a really terrifying unsettled spirit, and she would go and help a place get rid of it. I guess you would call it a poltergeist, where things would be thrown around and, all
That's
the
where
all
I
the
would
memories.
worry that that ghost could hurt me if they're able to pick things up and throw it out.
They can, I mean, look, they can do that. They can slam doors, but, that's very unsettled energy. And my grandmother believed that ghosts were absolutely nothing but leftover energy. That, she believed that we all went to a source, which I guess some people would call heaven. We all went back to a source, and, you know, some people couldn't, and that was a place of bliss and peace, and some people couldn't pass over because their anger or resentment or loss or pain kept them here. So she didn't think that ghosts were like this, sort of scary subhuman or, what
Mm,
remnant of a human. She believed that it was leftover energy
yeah.
from people that just didn't have the ability to pass on.
I find it interesting. I unfortunately have been present when people have passed away. I've lost some loved ones in the past. And it was interesting that I could not, you can see the change in the person from being alive to not being alive. But
Really? So
there's no, there's, I was like, I want to see where does that, what happens with their soul? Like, 'cause that is such a vibrant part of us. I did not see anything other than just the person stop breathing. And to me, it feels like there should be more, the energy should be going somewhere, or,
well,
yeah,
the
it's
energy
an
does.
interesting thing.
It becomes omnipresent. So it's not, the soul is just energy, so it's not confined to the body.
Mm.
So did you actually see somebody pass?
I've unfortunately lost some loved ones, and I was with them in hospital in their last moments.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so sorry to
so
hear that.
that's, yeah, and I'll have more of that coming,
I'm
sadly,
really, really
um,
sorry about
just
that.
because I'm at that age where the people I love that are old, that are my parents and grandparents, are passing away because
Yeah.
we don't last forever.
No.
And in terms of being with that person that you love at the end, I don't mind being there because I know that they felt loved and had people, all the people they cared about were with them. But to me, I was also kind of observing and going, oh, you don't get to observe this every day.
Yeah.
What changes are happening in the room. To me, I was like, oh, it's just like a light going off.
The energy of the person was no longer there. You could sort of
Yes,
see that.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, and also, I just want to be careful and respectful of my loved ones because they probably wouldn't be happy about me disclosing too much about
Yeah, no,
the
of course.
podcast.
Yeah, no,
But
of
yeah,
course. No,
to
I
me, it
understand.
is interesting that we are like walking and talking around and, you know, impacting all the people around us. We're
Yeah.
watching TV and we're reading books and we're laughing and living our lives. And then when it's our time to go, we're just gone. And it's like, okay, if that's, I want to know more about what happens. But I think that's kind of the joke of life is that we don't actually know what is beyond.
My grandmother did. Well, she had I guess, a version of, what she must have picked up the from the dead people that she would be dealing with, of what happens when she was able to help them go to the source. So I went to see her in hospital, and I didn't think she was going to pass on. We thought she was going to be fine. So I'd flown to Melbourne, and I once I thought she was okay, I flew back home. And then she passed literally while I was on the plane. So it was like, Jesus, now I've got to turn back around and
Yeah.
get straight on another plane. But she had said to me the day before, when she said, I will be leaving soon. And I said, don't be ridiculous. Of course you won't. Like, the doctors have pretty much given you the all clear. We're taking you home. And she said, no, 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 I will be going soon. And
Yes.
she said, when I go, you will cry and you will despair, and, you will be in pain. And where I'm going, I won't understand any of that. I'm going, when I go back to the source. And the way that she described it was a place of utter joy and bliss when you join the source. And she said it was like coming out of the most beautiful deep sleep you've ever had, and at the same time hitting the jackpot at the pokies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said that's what the feeling of the source feels like. And so she said to me, that's where I will be, and that's all I can feel. So when you cry and when you despair, I can't get anywhere near you, because
Oh,
I won't understand those emotions anymore.
yeah.
I can't understand that frequency, and I can't let you know that I'm around you. I can't let you know that I'm watching over you. And until the day you can remember me with a smile, or you can remember something that made you happy or something joyous about me, that's when I can get next to you again. But while you cry, while you miss me, while you have sorrow for my passing, I can't get close.
That's interesting though, because I think in our grief, we create an idea of that the person we love that we've lost is looking over us or comforting us.
Yeah, and
And
I believe
potentially that's not what's happening at all.
I think they have to watch from afar while we're grieving.
Yeah.
I don't think they can get anywhere near us while we're grieving. And when that grieving sort of starts to go away, or when it lessens, sorry, I'm sure it never goes away. But when it lessens, that's when they can sort of start showing us that they're around again. That was really comforting for me after losing her, to
Yeah.
remember words.
Now I'm going to take us in a completely different direction.
Sure.
You are a 90s rock chick.
Yes.
I imagined that I was, but I don't think I really am or was a 90s rock chick. But you have put those experiences in the book as well. And did you want to share a bit about how you've done that, how you've included music in the book?
Yeah. I I in my 20s, I traveled around the world working in clubs, and I worked in a lot of clubs in LA. So I got to meet lots of actors, and, lots of world famous rock bands, and I think it's just when you're working in LA, it's super normal to be around those people. My cousins were also living in LA with me, and they were nannies, and they were doing carpools with Jamie Lee Curtis and Prince.
No. Oh,
Yeah, yeah. That was like 1 week they were picking up Jamie Lee Curtis and Prince's kids, and then the week after it was Jamie Lee Curtis's turn to come and pick up the kids that they were nannies for. So it's really normal in LA to brush shoulders with really famous people. And so I worked in a lot of clubs in LA and a lot of clubs in London and all over Melbourne. So I just got to meet a lot of famous people, and I did a little bit of singing. There's a DJ called Sergeant Slick, and he worked with Andy Van, and do you remember the song Don't Call Me Baby?
yes.
Yeah, so I worked with Sergeant Slick and did a couple of songs with him. So music, it's always felt like a really powerful and emotive, you know, backtrack for my soundtrack for my entire life. And I thought it would be really, really cool to incorporate that that era,
Yeah.
the wonderful nostalgia of the cool, laid back, angst-ridden 90s. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I feel like we did live that. I feel like we were really laid back
Mm.
while being angst-ridden. And I wanted to write about that, and I thought music was the best way to sort of, capture the feel of the 90s and the music, because I'm sorry, everyone else from every other generation, I believe Gen X has the best music.
Yes, everybody else is wrong. The 90s is
Everyone
the
else is
best era.
wrong.
Yep.
I mean, look, we had all our era produced all the icons: Nirvana,
Mm,
Pearl Jam, Whitney Houston, George Michael. Every iconic
totally.
figure was our era, and yeah, I wanted to really weave that into Possible Springs. So music is very heavily featured throughout Possible Springs, and I felt like I was able to do that because there had been times in my 20s where, I got to chat to REM about why they wrote.
My little mind just blew there. I'm like, oh, no way. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
I got to I got to have a chat with them at like 4 in the morning at a club about why Losing My Religion was written, and Michael Stipe he was just pretty much just ignoring everyone on the planet and walking up and down his fingers up and down the bar, just ignoring the whole world in his little bubble. So yeah, I was just chatting to the rest of the band about, and I made I made an idiot of myself where I was like, oh, really drunk, and say, oh, because to me it feels like you're just so heartbroken that you don't believe in anything. You've even lost your own religion. And they were like, oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's exactly what it's about. I was like, oh
that
yeah.
is the point.
And then I was at another club and I was doing shots with Slash, and my brother walked. It was really cool. My brother was visiting me. My brother walked in and just, did this double take, and he was hilarious. He dropped on his knees and did the whole "I'm not worthy."
Love
And
it.
Slash was like, "Get up and have a shot with us." So that was really cool. And then I got to
That
hang
just
with.
took me back to like year 8 when we had our fringes up in like super high, and we had to have socks, and all the girls in my class had like Guns N' Roses on the front of their school diaries and things like that. And I'm like, I wonder what that would be like if I could go back now and say, hey, I'm actually chatting with an author who has met Slash.
Yeah, well, I only just
It's
met,
crazy how the world works.
I didn't get to be friends with him or anything, but yeah, yeah, I got to meet him a couple of times, and
Yeah.
such a carefree, lovely, lovely, like genuinely lovely person. Just, that one of those iconic people that fame just did not get to. just totally himself, and
Yeah.
no airs and graces. That was super cool to meet him, and I got to hang out with In Excess just after Michael Hutchence had died, and
Oh,
that was
that would have
really
been
hard.
full on, I think.
Yeah,
What a hard
yeah,
time.
yeah. They were really, really crushed, but it was an honor and privilege to chat to them about that happening, and so because I'd had these experiences throughout the 90s, where I did get to chat to a lot of musicians about, their motivation or inspiration behind songs, and how they felt about fame, and how they had changed or how they hadn't changed, and what music meant to them. I feel like that I was just in a tiny little bit of a position to work that throughout
Mm.
Possible Springs. And that's why 90s music is featured so heavily throughout the novel.
And were there any limitations around copyright or asking permission to include
I
any of
don't
the music or the lines from a song?
I don't write any lines.
Okay.
I only write there's no you can't copyright a song title.
Hmm.
There's no
Oh,
such
so you
thing.
can mention the name of the song.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's
You
great.
can't. Yeah, because I mean, from what I gauge, Californication is very different because maybe it's a made up word, but everything else, for example, one of the chapters in the book is called "Come as You Are,"
Mm.
obviously after the Nirvana song.
Yep.
But then also Shakespeare said "Come as you are" in
Mm.
one of his plays, so you can't
Ah, so they
you
stole
can't
it.
copyright. They might have stole it, but then we say it every day.
Mm.
When we say, "Oh, I can't come to the party, I'm not dressed up." And
Yep.
we say, "Well, just come as you are,"
Mm. Because
so
those kind of things, they kind of embed themselves in our language as well. Like,
yeah.
because Shakespeare really has added so much to our language that we use now.
I actually put that on TikTok the other day. I mean, I don't wanna get off too far off track, but there was all these things that I said on TikTok because I'd seen that Shakespeare was responsible for things like "The Green-Eyed Monster," "Knock, knock, who's there?" "The world is my oyster," "So, so." There's
Mm.
so many
So
things.
many things.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's
Thank you,
no
Shakespeare.
thank you, Shakespeare. There's no you can't copyright a song title, but in a book, you cannot use a line from a song without permission.
That's awesome to get some info on that because I see so many writers asking on like various Facebook groups and in other groups I'm in, they're like, "Can I use a line from this song?" Or
No.
and I'm like, "I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure someone will jump in and say it."
No,
Um,
yeah, no, you can't. Not unless I think it's 100 years old.
right,
I
okay.
might be no, I
Mm,
don't quote me on that though. I might be wrong. Might be 70 years old. So if a song is over same as poems,
mhm,
as long as it's I think it's 100 years, but then it goes public domain and you can use it.
right.
And you can always search, if there's a poem you would like to use for a book or a really, really, really old song. You can just Google if it's public
Mm.
domain or not. But
And I'm pretty
yeah.
sure if you got to the point of publication, your editor or publisher they would tell you
Oh, they
anyway
just
if you
rip
got
it
to the
right out.
point and they go, "Yep, you can't
They
have
just
that."
yeah, they just rip it. They rip it right out. Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible. So, are you doing a tour with the book?
Not at present. I think my publicist is just sort of at the moment, she's just putting together things like my magazine interviews and podcasts and things like that. We do have a really big, exciting book launch going on in Port Douglas. And that will be a big party. We've got like a band, and so that would be super cool.
Will they be playing some of the songs from
Yes,
that'll
yes.
be
I'm
so
gonna go
cool.
through the playlist with them and see what they can play. Yeah,
Oh, and you
yeah,
could do, like, a Spotify playlist for
yeah, yeah,
readers that they
yeah.
can
So,
listen to it while they're reading.
yeah, so Penguin has suggested that would be a really, really good idea that I put together a Spotify, because every chapter in Possible Springs is named after an iconic song.
Amazing. That's
Yes,
very
so
cool.
thank you. Thank you so much. So, yeah, I will put together a playlist of, sort of each song that a chapter is named after, but also sort of some of the songs that the chapters center around as well, that are mentioned throughout chapters. Yeah.
I think lots of creative and interactive ways you can utilize to like engage with your listeners, like because these days, like there's so much more to releasing a book. Like there's the whole Bookstagram and TikTok, and like
Yeah.
it can be such a fun thing to release a book. I feel like I'm not that tech savvy anymore. Like I'm in that age where I was around when Facebook first came out, and it
Yeah.
feels like technology has just fast forwarded so far. Like, I can't make this real. I'm trying to take this photo. I do not want to do videos of myself chatting to the
Oh, look,
camera.
no, I feel like it's a necessary evil, and it's nice to be able to promote a book on social media, but I feel like people following you on social media are more there for, your life and who you are,
Yeah.
because I've seen authors make the terrible mistake of doing nothing but pushing their book.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's people they just don't want to see that. So, they'd much rather watch you, I don't know, is trying to cook a chicken cacciatore for the first time, and, blowing out birthday candles and having a cuddle with your dog, and then say something about your book.
Yeah.
But they're more invested in your life and how you live it than just look at my book, look at my book, look at my book. So it's really exciting to have followers, that sort of are interested in your life, and then interested in the book as a facet of your life.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a fine line to walk between sort of protecting your personal life but allowing people in to get to know you. I was very determined. I'm like, nobody's going to know anything about me. I'm doing a podcast where I interview people. So the focus is not on me, like the focus is on the author I'm chatting to. But I've learned along the way I need to let people in a bit and share more about myself, because also our conversations together are more interesting if I'm giving back to you when we're chatting as
Yeah, well,
well.
I'm fascinated by you. I feel really honoured as well. I feel really honoured with you sharing aspects of your life.
Mm.
And
Although
I
you
think,
don't want to seem like you're like, oh yes, everything you've done, this is my experience. So it's
I don't think
sharing interesting stuff without.
you don't seem like you could come across like that even if you were trying. You're just coming across so genuine and humble and easy to speak to. And I feel you've got this real
I'm
gift.
blushing right now.
Well, I can be pretty terrible at interviews if I'm not relaxed with the person I'm doing an interview with. I become really stiff, and I'm not really. I don't know how to be open and connect if I'm not chatting to somebody that's interviewing me that isn't sort of giving back and making it easy for me to converse. So thank you very
It's
much.
just like being on a phone call, and I am just sitting here in my tracksuit pants.
Well, I changed
Although
into my nightie. I've still got my makeup on from lunch, but I've got my nightie on.
we've got to be comfortable. But I kind of feel like you're like, I'm assuming you're tall, although I can't
No,
see
I'm
your
really
whole
short.
body. But I feel like I'm the squashed down short
No,
version.
no, no,
I'm
I'm
a bit
really
round.
short. No, I'm
But we've both
5'3".
got blonde hair, and we both love the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's much easier to get along with someone when they have a couple of things in common with you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
Um,
I'm super short, unfortunately. I
yeah.
have to put my big girl shoes on every time I go out, so I don't feel like, the shortest person in the room.
I've embraced flats, but I have two sons who are like these giant Vikings, and I'm still. I look up at them and go, I don't know how that happened. These giants. When I'm 5'4", and they're like 6'4", and
Yeah.
you sort of. I always joke, oh, you would, if you were walking down an alley and they were approaching you, you would turn the other way. I'm like, oh, they're giants.
I don't know. I don't know. Genetics are weird. I'm 5'3", and my brother is 6'3", so I don't
Oh,
know.
isn't that crazy?
It's
That's so
crazy,
funny.
and he's like brown-eyed, brown hair, and I'm blue-eyed, a blue-eyed blonde, 5'3". It's crazy.
Now, for the future for you, are there more books? Have you got something else that
Yeah.
you're manifesting on?
Yes. Yes. I can't say too much about that. Yes, I have books lined up in my head that ready to go. So I'm in the process of finishing another book at the moment, and we'll see how that one goes. My agent, she's a really good sort of barometer of whether the book will be accepted by publishers or not, because she's fantastic, but she is very forthright.
That's what you want. Like, I want people that'll give me the truth, like,
Yeah.
especially in this industry,
Yeah,
because it's a hard slog to get published,
it
and you
really
need
is.
people to say, like, if you're I don't want to say wasting time. If you're investing your time into 80,000 words in a novel,
Yeah.
you don't want to then find that it's not publishable. So you really do need to know from the beginning that it's worth putting that time into it.
I feel like that's kind of the I feel like you do kind of need to go through that though I feel like you do need to go through that with writing your first couple of books, you know? I feel like you kind of need to write not crap books, but not know what you're doing. So I'm
Well,
just
you've got to develop the skill somehow as well, and that
yeah, so you do
to
need
write
for
well, you
someone
have
to be
to learn to
quite
write.
brutal with you in the beginning, just so you know which direction you're going in, you know? So
Yeah.
you sort of do need to go through that period where, yes, you are writing stuff that nobody's going to read, because otherwise you won't know how to develop your style into something that is just, absolutely fantastic, or, it's really intriguing, or you just can't develop your own style until you've started at ground zero
Mhm.
and you've got some brutal opinions about it.
Now, I'm going to ask you just three little questions that are for your readers and my listeners to get to know you a little bit better. If you went back to young Samantha, primary school, high school age, what would she think of your career? Would she be surprised that you were an author?
No. No, books were always my first love, and I won my first little writing award when I was 4. I wrote a little po
Oh, nice work.
Yeah, I wrote a little poem about, models being able to travel on private planes and, wear designer clothes. So, no, I always knew I was going
That's
to
a
write.
broad world view at 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know, right? I know. God knows how I did it, but yeah, no, I probably wouldn't have been surprised that I was a writer. I would probably have been surprised at my resilience to get there. I probably and that circles back to what I was just saying, that you sort of need to write a couple of, sort of crap manuscripts to know how to develop your strength. So yeah, I wouldn't have known that I would have been able to develop a style and be so resilient. Yeah. So yes, I would have known to that question.
No surprise that Possible Springs is in the world.
Possible Strings, yeah. Yes, definitely a surprise, because that book just came out of nowhere. I love the idea of intertwining music, and I've worked as a dive instructor and a tour guide just because of how much I love the Australian wilds, and our Australian landscape is very much its own character in
Mm.
Possible Springs. So, threading that in, and then threading in the supernatural or paranormal, thanks to my grandmother. Yes, those things, eventually I would have written about them, but just not the way they all came together in one book. So I was really taken aback when Possible Springs came out of nowhere and tapped me on the shoulder.
Wonderful. Amazing that it has
Yeah,
happened
thank
though.
you. Thank you.
And for someone like an emerging author, do you have any tips or advice that if just one piece of advice you might like to share?
Just hang in there. Just hang in there. You don't need to go to uni. You don't need to do writing courses. If you wake up in the morning and all you want to do is write, you're already a writer. So just hang in there, because over time it'll get easier. You'll develop your style, you'll develop new ideas. It's never easy as an author in the beginning, but it will get easier. And, if that's really, really what you want to do with your life, your resilience, it will develop alongside your passion. So just don't ever doubt yourself. It's a long journey to get there, but you'll get there if you have faith, and your love of writing overshadows your fear. So yeah, just hang in there, never give up.
This question, because we have gone in many surprising directions with our chat tonight. But my last question is there something that your readers and my listeners may not know about you that they would find surprising?
Well, anything over 5 people that I know really well, and I get shy.
No,
Yeah,
you get shy.
yeah, yeah. I do. I clamor. I'm terrible at. I'm fantastic at one-on-ones,
Yep.
especially if I'm connecting with someone. But anything over a group of 5 where I don't know the people well, like parties, I'm terrible. I turn into the most awkward weirdo at the party, and just wondering how I can do a shady bail and get out of there and get
I'm
home.
always walking into events going, don't be weird, don't be weird.
Yeah, yeah, but that is me. Don't be weird. Don't be outspoken. Don't say dumb shit. Don't talk about ghosts. Don't tell them that magic is realism infused with physics. Just don't say weird, stupid stuff. Go home. Just go home instead. Don't even go inside the party. Go home. Yeah,
I
so
have to
most people
be
meet
careful.
me, they would think I am super confident, and I am the complete opposite. It's a facade if you pitch me against more than 5 people.
I'm always doing something like, I just watched this documentary on Stonehenge, or I just listened to this podcast about, and they say that it's possible that we do live in the Matrix. And
Yeah. Yeah,
I have to
yes.
stop doing that.
No, no. See, don't stop doing that. Don't stop doing that, because I feel like that quirky side of humans is what makes us intriguing and beautiful. No, don't stop doing that. And if people look at you funny when you say, you know, weird stuff like, "Hey, did you know that your eyeballs are the same shape and size as they were the moment you were born until the moment you die? They never grow and they never change." And people look at you like, "I'm sorry, do you have drugs for sale? What are you doing?"
Like, no,
You know?
thank you. I don't wish to have this discussion.
And if people don't find things like that interesting and quirky, they're the boring ones. So, yeah.
I just have like an appetite for life and for learning. Like I just find many different topics interesting, and I'm like, and I'm not at the point of like being obsessed with different topics, but I just go, that's interesting. I'd like to learn more about that.
Are you a Gemini?
I'm a Cancer.
Yeah, right.
And if you meet me, I do quite like, you know how they say, oh, Cancer should be teachers or librarians or archivists, and I'm like, oh, that sounds so boring. But
No,
I'm
I mean, no,
probably
Teachers,
Oh,
no, that's quite fascinating. I think teachers are always quite fascinating.
I'm nearly at like the cusp of Leo, so I think I've got a little bit of Leo in me. But also, I would, if someone asked me, I'm like, no, I don't believe in star signs because how can everybody that's born on the same day be the same? So,
I think
although,
it's not so much the same, but definitely I'm a Gemini, and every Gemini I've met has, you know, really similar traits to me in a
mm,
spooky way, like we're not born leaders, but we wind up finding ourselves in positions of leadership, and we're absolutely fascinated, as you say, by just the most obscure topics, and the quirky and the weird and the strange. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of Capricorns as well, and
mm,
they all their traits are the same. They over internalize, and they all own businesses. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird one as well. But astrology is a fascinating
yes,
topic to read up on.
to be honest, I'm always like, oh, I'm very interested in that. I'm like, oh, astrology is interesting. Oh, people really believe that. So I'm always like, oh, wouldn't that be cool if that was real? Oh, there, and there's some really way out things that people really do believe. And I'm like, gee, that's so intriguing.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how cults happen. And
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna make a reference to that. I was gonna say, there's a point. Yeah, okay. There's a point where something is intriguing, and a point where it's just absolutely ridiculous, and before you know it, you're wearing a tinfoil hat. I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty weird cult beliefs out there, but yeah, I don't
I've
know. The
seen
world is
all
a
the
fascinating.
documentaries on them and heard all the podcasts. Well, it's been so lovely to chat to you and get to know you a bit better. And
Oh,
I'm
thank
really looking
you.
forward to seeing where you go next with your next book. And hopefully, if you do tour, you might come to Brisbane and I can come and say hello.
Oh, yeah, I really, really hope so. I really hope to get to Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. And I'm hoping there's a possibility because so I've just found out that the QBD bookshops.
Yes.
So I've just found out from Penguin that I am QBD's book of the month for June.
Hooray! That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and so I'm really hoping to get to Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne to sign a few copies and meet some people and stuff.
That's cool. And
So
you've just got to like enjoy like the whole firsts of everything with a book release, like in terms of this is my first book launch, this is my first book tour, like all that fun stuff that comes with it. Just
I'm
enjoying
gonna
it to
try.
the max.
I'll try. I'll try really hard, but I have this like drill sergeant that lives in my head going, right, that's completed. What next? What can you achieve next? So I very rarely stop to congratulate myself because I'm always on to the next thing. But
Mhm.
yeah, we'll
I
we'll,
think
we'll
that's
see.
how creation happens though, because we're motivated to achieve the next thing. So I'm always going, I don't know why am I doing this? Because I want to create and I want to achieve and like it's motivation that it it's not even like monetary rewards. It's I've created something that's out in the world now. But then I do
Yeah.
question why am I compelled to do that?
Um, Probably because deep down you don't have a choice.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that your first writing prize was at 4 because
Yeah.
when people say, "Oh, why? When did you decide to write?" I'm like, "Oh, I think I was born a writer. Like, I'm actually now that I've decided to write, I'm just doing what I was meant to be doing all along, and I should have not been. I was trying to be something I wasn't for so long, and now I'm actually being what I should be. It's more everything's more
Yeah.
aligned. So." Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Well,
I'm writing because that's what I'm meant to be doing, so I'll just keep doing it.
yeah, and it's all about timing. I mean, you won't sort of dedicate yourself to your passion until you're 100% ready, will you?
Yeah.
You know, nobody
So,
really does. You've gotta get your 20s out the way. You've gotta, like, party with rock stars and stuff first.
yes.
Gotta get your silly, silly years out the way before you get dedicated, but I feel like when it's a calling, you'll get to a point where there is no choice. The calling will overtake you,
Yeah.
and that's probably why you do it, because
Mhm.
there isn't another option.
No. But I think you
Yeah.
just have to accept your fate a little bit as well. If you've got something, like, I think you should always be trying to be the best version of yourself. I know that sounds cliched, but,
No,
like,
no, no, it sounds
share it with the
great.
world.
It sounds great. I mean, I lapse daily at that, but yeah, I'm always trying to be the best version of myself.
Mm.
I lapse a lot, but, every
We
day
all
is a
have
new day.
foibles, like, though, like, sometimes we drink too much coffee, sometimes we might have too much champagne at lunch.
Well, I do that on a weekly basis. So which probably means I'm gonna lapse forever, but, yeah.
You can have, like, a books and bubbles event-free book. That's you gotta have some champagne to
Oh,
celebrate the
most
launch.
definitely. Yeah, I will. The day that the book comes out, I think it comes out on June 2nd, and I'm going to go and have a bottle of Moët with my friends, and then I am going to get the penguin icon tattooed on
I
my finger.
love that idea.
So
I've been
excited.
so tempted to get my podcast logo tattooed, but I'm like,
Why
is that
wouldn't
too
you?
far? Is
Oh,
that,
no,
like,
you need
too
to. Oh, you
much?
need to. No, you know what? Come up here to Port Douglas, come for a holiday, and I will shout you that tattoo. It's a honestly, it's a
Oh,
that's an
there's
offer.
no turning
Come up
back
here,
now.
and I will take you to our local tattooist, and I will buy you that tattoo.
I have been talking to a friend of mine who has just got lots of piercings. And I want to get piercings too, and I want to get more tattoos. And I just recently had a hip replacement, and I'm recovering. And I'm like, if only, like, when they put me under, I could have got all the piercings and tattoos done while that was
Oh,
happening, so I
yeah.
didn't feel anything.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been
But they don't do those extra services when
I know, how annoying, how annoying. So you would think that, like, surgeons, like, what is it called, who when they do your hip, orthopedic surgeon, is that right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because my
Mm.
best friend has to have a double hip.
Well, yeah, 3 months I'm getting the other side done. So because my surgeon has gone in, like, because you can do anterior and do both of them at once, but my surgeon does them one at a time. So left hip is done. I'm
Okay, oh, that's
Today I had my
fantastic.
first shower by myself and I walked up and
Oh,
down my stairs.
congratulations.
I'm like, I'm 4 weeks out from the surgery. And then, yeah, in 3 months I'll get the other side done and then I'll be a bio.
Oh, okay, that's very cool. Not cool that you had to have it done, but cool that the first one's out the way,
Yeah.
next one's on the horizon.
And
You'll
I was
be
quite
doing
happy, like,
marathons in no time.
the scarring isn't too bad either. Like, I was expecting to be, like, hideous, and I'm like, "Oh, actually, you can't really notice that. That's good." Yeah, so there's been a lot of unexpected things with the whole thing, especially that I'm only the age I am and having to have one done.
Oh, yeah, but look, I have had friends that have had needed a double knee replacement at the age of 25,
Yeah.
and another of my best friends went through menopause at 30. It just, our bodies are weird like that, but
Mm.
I'm happy to hear that not only the operation went well, but the scarring's minimal as well.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Is the scarring on the hip?
Yeah, but I, for some reason, thought it would be vertical, but it's horizontal. But I've been a bit too scared to look, to be honest. I'm like, I'm just gonna pretend it's not there. But I've been now sneaking looks in the mirror and going, "Okay, it's okay." But
I
I
think
don't know
that
why I was
really
expecting
cool.
gore.
And it'll get better over time, but there's also that silver cream that you can use that
Mm.
will help it. But I also, so this is pretty weird, but I don't mind scars. I
Well,
look at
yes,
them as your
they're
little
part of life.
skin diary, you know? They're markers of where you've been and what you've been through. So I see scars as your skin diary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I
Yeah.
was just going to tell you about the day my book came out
Oh, yes,
because I
please.
do want to live vicariously through yours. I work in federal government, so on the day that my book was launched, I went to work, and that was it. And it was such a strange, like surreal moment because I'm sitting there in the office working away, and it was
Wow.
when like it was after COVID, so there were minimal people in the office, but you had to do a certain amount of days at work. And I'm like, I'm sitting here like nothing is happening at all. And yet it's
Wow.
actually the day my book is coming.
What a strange
And
sensation.
it feels weird too, because it feels weird to be like saying to random people that you don't know very well at work either that it's like, oh, I've had a book come out today.
How
And they're like,
bizarre. That's
okay.
like the world just went on as normal around you when, like, one of the biggest events of your entire life was happening and the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
world
And it was just
didn't
get
stop
on with
and
it.
go, "Wow."
The family and I did go out for dinner that night and we took a copy of the book with us, sitting at the table with us like an extra family
No.
member.
Oh, that's
And then I
gorgeous.
had a lovely book launch that weekend. But it was a really weird day. It was like, oh, I just have to be here at work today.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't know. I mean, yes, I feel like when something momentous like that happens, it's so weird that the world just rolls out as normal that day.
Yes. Mm.
But, I also feel I never feel it because, as I said before, I'm always ready to just do the next thing, and,
Yep.
I'm gonna make myself stop and enjoy it because this year it comes out on June the 2nd, my birthday is June the 4th, and the big book launch party is June the 6th. So,
It's going to be
I'm
a
just gonna
next level
combine 'em all.
week.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. I'll get my tattoo. I'll get my tattoo on the 2nd and then go out for dinner on the 4th, but then, really combine both my birthday and the book release on the 6th, and, that'll be a that'll be it'll be a big night, I'd say.
That's going to be super fun.
It will be super fun. So you
Is there
come up
any
for
rock
it?
stars on the guest list?
No, we're keeping it very on the down low to just Port Douglas locals.
Yep.
And if there were a couple of rock stars coming, I wouldn't be able to say.
Well, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. I
Well,
think it's
thank you so
pretty
much for
great.
joining me.
Oh,
It's
thank
been
you
great
so
to
much
get to
for
know
having
you.
me. Oh, it's
We
been
could
so
talk all night, and my poor listeners won't have the stamina to listen to a whole episode, or maybe we'll have to split it in half because I've been talking too long.
well, you know what? I feel so honored to be on your show, and I will just also feel so incredibly privileged if your listeners listen to anything I have to say. This is so sweet of you and your listeners to give me this time. I really appreciate it. And I've had the best time. Thank you for being so personable and humble and down to earth, and it's just been a really lovely night. Thank you.
Totally Lit is an independent podcast. You can help support us to continue to chat with wonderful Australian creatives by leaving a review on iTunes or sharing our socials with your friends. You can also make a contribution at www.buymeacoffee.com/Totally Lit. This will also help with equipment and podcasting platform fees. I love to interact with our listeners, so feel free to say hello either by email or social media at totallylitpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn and Twitter, and now Blue Sky. I've also created a group on Facebook called the Totally Lit Writing Community. It's a space to continue the conversation and share your writing successes, events, launches and latest projects. Jump into the group and say hello. Thank you for listening to Totally Lit, and don't forget to go out into the world to read, write, create, ignite.